Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the Playskool Big Frank. So yeah, you might be wondering, why am I reviewing a really old children's toy? That's because whenever I was a really old child, this was my favorite old children's toy. From 1992. It's sort of a childlike Frankenstein. He has some electronic features. You're supposed to fix him and stuff. And he was just kind of cool. He was something that I kept for a very, very long time. I actually don't remember getting him. I just remember having him for a very long time. And I decided I'd go ahead and buy one, because he was just something that was very nostalgia heavy for me. Anyway, let's go ahead and zoom in for articulation, features, details, all those sorts of things.
Alright, starting off with a quick size comparison. Of course, here we have Big Frank. Here's our standard Marvel Legends 6-inch Superior Spider-Man and our 3 3/4-inch Marvel Universe Wolverine. Now, Big Frank is big. That would be where the big part in his name comes from. He is about 15 or maybe 16 inches tall. He's pretty big. Of course, he's way bigger than both of these things I'm using for scale. And he's just in general bigger than most of the sort of toys you'll get, really. So, yeah, that's very cool. Let's get the other two out of here and just look at Big Frank. Alright, moving on to our 360 spin. Here you can see Big Frank. He is wearing sort of a orange suit. It has some stitching detail along the arms, but that's not painted. And then it has bolts on the shoulders. He has some chains around his wrist. Those are sculpted and painted. And then he has his big 3-fingered hands. They have some fingernails sculpted on there. On the front of his chest, he has hinges, and then a bolt there in the center. That will open up. We'll look at his features in a bit, and we'll look at that. He's got some more stitching on his legs. He's got a big sort of panel in his back. That's actually his battery pack. He's also got like a little wall outlet on his butt there. Down around the shoes, they're black and they have some screws and bolts in them, which are painted silver. All in all, the detail's not bad, especially for something that's meant for a child. Of course, they didn't paint a lot of the detail, but there is detail there to look at. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the head sculpt. Zooming in on the head sculpt, he has sort of a childlike face. Part of his lip is sort of sagging down a bit. There's not a lot of detail here, but it's sculpted fairly well for what it is. He does have some ears here on the side. He has his black flat-top hair up here, which has a little bit of sculpted detail in it. He has green eyes with little LEDs there in the front. Those light up whenever you mess with his innards. We'll look at that in just a minute. So head sculpt-wise, perfectly acceptable for what he is. Now let's zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, Big Frank has very old-school style articulation, the same kind of stuff you'd find in old action figures and things. He has a cut joint at the head, so that rotates. Cut joint at each shoulder, so those go in and out, and cut joints down here at the hip that go in and out at an angle. So you're not really going to get him into a lot of poses, not that that's really the point of this particular figure. You can sort of get him to hold some of his tools that he comes with, or you can get him to sit down or look in a particular direction, but that's about it. Speaking of his tools, let's go ahead and move on to his accessories. Alright, here are Big Frank's accessories, which are all tools that you use to mess around with his insides. I'll be showing you that feature in a minute. You get this red screwdriver, in sort of a hexagonal shape. It fits into the gears that he has. A pair of tweezers, which are practically pointless, and then this sort of purple socket wrench. Like I said, you can use those to mess around with his stuff, or you can make him hold them, though they're really meant to be held by you, not him. Now, let's finally go ahead and take a look at some of his features. Alright, let's start off with the chest here. You can turn this little bolt here, and then you can open up his chest doors to reveal his insides. And he has several little buttons and cogwheels and things in here. I'm going to use the screwdriver here, and you can turn his gears to change him from broken to fixed, and he says different things depending upon what state he's in. For example, he is currently in the fixed state, so you can push his heart and he will say some stuff. And also his eyes will flash out. You can push this button here, and that's like a fuel thingy, and then you can push this button here by either using the lever or just pushing it. I'll use the lever because it's there. That's not working because this cord's in the way. Alright, and then if you change him to broken, he pretty much says the same thing no matter what you push. And Yeah, so he wants you to fix him. And that's what you'll be doing. You'll be fixing him. And then whenever you're done, let's just put him back into fixed mode. You can close him up and relock his little door. And he'll be ready to go and do Big Frank things. And then once you're done fixing him and no longer have use for the tools, open his head up, and you can put them in there, and close the head back up. And yeah, convenient storage space inside the head. So that's everything related to his features, and they're pretty cool for a person that likes that kind of thing. Now, that wraps it up for Frank and all of his accessories and features. Let's move on to the packaging. Packaging-wise, Big Frank comes in this large box. Mine is a little beat up because it's like 20 years old. The talking monster pal kids love to fix. Big picture of Frank there on the front. All of his phrases here. Says Big Frank and the Playskool logo down there at the bottom. On the back, there's sort of a big description of the toy. The Big Frank logo there. And then there's this kid stabbing Big Frank with a screwdriver. He should probably stop doing that. Unfortunately, since this box has no window, it's not really good for in-package display, but it serves its purpose of containing things, which is what boxes are supposed to do. So, yeah, Big Frank.
Alright, that wraps it up for Frank, so until next time, goodbye!
Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.